Hi guys, my name is Archana Raman and I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and I treat adults with neurological problems as well. So today we are going to discuss the topic of why children with autism have problems with feeding or why they have fussy feeding. So the first problem is children with autism have what is known as sticky thinking and they don't have flexible thinking. So what I mean by flexible thinking is this part of our brain, the frontal lobe, the part that is right behind here, helps us to shift between one activity to the next or shift between options in our life easily. And this is something that is not developed in children with in the spectrum. So let me give you an example of flexible thinking. Say I am attending a birthday party and enjoying what's happening in the party, and suddenly my parents want to take me home. I will quickly get ready, pack my things and get ready to move on to the next activity, which is getting on a bus or a car and taking the ride home. I won't sit there and throw a tantrum or have a meltdown because I don't understand why I have to move on to the next activity. My brain is getting prepared. My brain has already gotten prepared to move on to the next activity. Another example is, let's say it's this is a school scenario and the current period is I'm doing math, and then from math the bell goes off and I have to transition to lunchtime. This part of the brain which helps with flexible thinking will help me move on from math and then transition and move easily to the next thing, which is lunchtime. So children with in the spectrum do not have this flexible thinking and they have sticky thinking. So how this has implications in feeding is that children on the spectrum will tend to eat only specific foods packaged in specific ways and presented in specific ways. So let's say you give them breakfast cereal and it is Kellogg's Choco Puffs. The child will want it packaged exactly in the yellow and brown packaging with the same cartoon and the same oval shaped Cocoa Pops every single morning. So in case you try to change it to something else, if you give them Weetabix or cornflakes or anything else, they will refuse it because it's not in the same packaging, doesn't look the same way, doesn't taste the same way. The same, I have moms who come to me and say my child will only eat this brand of yogurt packaged in this certain packet and in this certain way. They try so many things and they fail at it because this child's brain is not able to think flexibly and move on from one option to the next. The second reason is is children with autism do not understand social behaviors and social norms. So this has implications. Say a child has to sit in a dining table with the entire family. The child does not understand table etiquette, like turn taking and waiting for their turn for the food to come, or they see most of these social norms as something that's forced upon, and they tend to see it as something that's that they don't have to stick to, like if it's lunchtime and it's the nursery or it's a primary school where children have to sit with everyone else in a noisy background to have their lunch. These children would see it as something that's imposed upon them. Why should I sort of fit into this sort of a social norm? Now the third reason is communication. Children on the spectrum are not able to communicate when they feel thirst or hunger using words. A lot of children are non-verbal. Some children use augmentative communication devices. Some children use pictures. So one other thing is we have another 8th sensory sense called interoception, and that's the sense which tells us when we need to use the bathroom, whether or not we are hungry, and how hungry are we, whether or not we feel thirst, and so many other sensations inside our body. So when these children do not feel all that, they're not, and when they have communication issues, they then are not able to communicate their hunger or food needs to the parent and caregivers. So many a times you will see this coming out as behaviors, and children will express them in various types of behaviors. So this is the third problem which is contributing to fussy feeding in children with autism. Children on the spectrum also have medical issues, which is the fourth important issue that's contributing to fussy feeding. So I see a lot of children that have allergies, constipation, GERD or reflux, and they also have certain other problems that like tongue ties or developmental jaw issues and other medical issues that are contributing for them to then develop an anxiety when they see food, or they do not have the skills to eat food. The fifth most important point is these children have motor and sensory issues. So we all know that there are 8 sensory systems, which is seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, and then hearing, and also what's known as the movement sense and the joint position sense and interoception. So some children are undersensitive or oversensitive or not registering these sensations. So let me give you a simple example. So there might be a child who, when he just eats crunchy food, does not like the sound of the crunch and the munch that comes from that particular food. It could be Rice Krispies, it could be baby puffs, it could be chips, it could be cornflakes, or even biting and chewing certain meats can produce these sounds inside. You and me can ignore those sounds and continue eating, but for these children it will be amplified 1,000 times, and they cannot tolerate those things because they have auditory sensitivities. Or there might be a child that is seeking certain sensations because they're not registering certain sensations in their tongue properly. So I have children who love extreme heat, extreme spice in their food, or would just go for bottles of hot sauce, spice sauce or pickles. And then there are these children who always have food around their mouth because they don't know where the food is. They are not taking that sensation from outside the mouth. The sensation is not going to the brain saying, okay, look, there's some extra food sticking here, we have to use our tongues to clean it up. So you'll always find that they're messy. So this is to do with the tactile sensation, one is to do with the auditory sensation, or you could have children who have what's known as motor planning issues. So they may not know how to sequence and plan the act of cutting food, sticking your knife in it and taking it to the mouth. Now all this involves several motor plans, like for example, this is how my joint moves first, and then this is how my joint, you have to rock the knife, and then this is how you have to tear the food and then take the food to mouth. This involves big motor plan. So I have outlined 5 major issues that is leading to problem with feeding and fussy feeding in children on the spectrum disorder. I have created 2 other videos for to manage some of these issues. If you need further tips, or you would like to talk to us about this, I've left my WhatsApp number down below and my email down below. If you like this video, give us a like and a subscribe, and hit the bell notification in case you want to know about future videos that we are going to create. Good luck, guys. Bye bye.